U2 cannot get any easier with this OP strategy. Welcome back to Cocky Gachas, and in this video, bring to you a 1.4 U2 strategy. As you can see, I've already cleared U2, and I have also noticed that they have removed a very strong strategy in the leftmost strategy. So with that out of the way, right, if you do not have the follow-up units, you do not have much options, but there is an OP strategy available to you quite early on if you were to complete the trials, and that is going to be the cannot gain ultimate strategy. This is a very strong strategy, but it seems counterintuitive at first. You cannot use ultimate, so how can this be strong? Well, in exchange for not being able to use ultimate, you are able to gain attack plus 40%, HP, reality defense, and mental defense plus 20%. And I tell you this, beginners struggle the most with U2 because of survivability. Oftentimes, attack and damage is not going to be a main concern, but these cards have everything except for the fact that you cannot use ultimate. So still, people might think that this is not worth it. But on top of this, you also gain additional stacks, right? At the end of the round, you're going to gain 1 stack of eagerness and unsparing, which is crit rate plus crit damage as well as damage bonus. So at the end of the round, right, all of your units are going to get this damage bonus and crit rate bonus, and this is specific to the Leilani card as well as the Regulars card. So these two cards are already our MVP cards, right, in our fame card section, but with this Vertin card, you're able to gain those stacks at the end of the round for all of your members. So the only problem is that you cannot use ultimate, but of course, just with this Vertin card alone, it doesn't make it extremely strong. What is extremely strong is 2 additional fame cards that I specifically use to combo with this, and the first one being Baby Blue. Okay, so for Baby Blue, Incantation might plus 80%, but it gets removed after using ultimate. But guess what? You cannot use ultimate. So this, from start to end, you're going to get Incantation might plus 80% just with 1 Baby Blue card. So definite MVP card. And the second option is slightly more flexible. You can choose to go with this, you can choose to go with other cards, but me personally, I went with this Rock Pioneer Apple Orange card, right? I don't know why it's called orange card, but whatever. This basically means that if you cast a basic attack incantation, you are going to have penetration rate plus 45%. And guess what? You're always going to be casting basic attack incantation. So this is permanently on your carry. So this is extremely strong. Of course, you can also go for other alternatives in, especially like I've mentioned, right? The most straightforward one, you always want to go for Leilani card as well as the Regulars card. Stacking of this after using certain actions. For most of the stages, this is going to be inferior to what I've just recommended to you. However, for U230 specifically, is extremely long, so you want to use Leilani cards and Regulars cards instead. Of course, with the addition of this specific Baby Blue card, this is always going to be on. The second one is going to be an alternative. So with this combo, you pretty much shouldn't have much problem with U2 already. But on the survivability end, I know beginners still have some problems, and they might be new to U2 cards, right? They don't know what is it. For some people, it might be their first U2. So I'm going to recommend some of the commonly known good cards for U2, and specifically, the first one going to be Snyder card. So Snyder card is going to basically act as an extra life, similar to how Necrologist with the Prayer card, except that you're going to recover 50%. That's quite significant. Probably not going to die once you have this card, right? So this is extra life. Important, especially in U220, whereby 6 hits very hard. So if you have this, right, your healer wouldn't die, and you will be able to heal up the rest of the teams quite successfully. So this is the first one. And secondly, you can also go for support cards such as the Pickles card. After casting this, you can purify the stats down, negative status, and like I've mentioned, U220 is going to be facing 6, and you know what 6 does best, right? Freaking debuffing you. So if you have this, right, you don't have to rely on units such as 2 Fairy. Beginners will not have access to 2 Fairy anyways, so you will have to rely on this card to purify the negative status so that 6 doesn't hit a truck ton with his ultimate, right? So this is going to be very relevant. These are the basic support cards that I recommend for you guys to actually pick up on. But if you still have units such as New Babel, Lilia, you have all of these units, right, and 37, perhaps you can also go with the Fallout strategy. This has not been removed, right? The leftmost strategy has been removed. I'm quite sad. That is one of a very strong OP strategy. But now we have this cannot cast ultimate, and still we have this extra actions. This is still going to be quite prevalent. But in my opinion, this is going to be much more flexible because it does not rely on any of the units, right? You can have any units, it's still going to work. Just grab this card, you are going to be fine, and you're going to clear U2 quite easily. Now, of course, before we go any further touching on the specific stages that I think that most beginners are going to struggle, just going to be a quick tip, right? Once again, U2 retails, I'm going to refresh every time. You are going to want to wait till 28% chance to obtain the orange cards before you start going reading into this U2 and getting the cards. But of course, if you're a beginner, feel free to do so earlier. It's not going to be that that big of a deal, but I do believe that you need stage 16 before you can unlock the max requirements of 28%. Regardless, you have 14 days, right? So if you were to use 5 tries first, it's not going to be the biggest deal, so do not fret too much about it. You have a lot of time to clear. As long as every day you are reading this U2 retails, it's going to be fine. You're going to get 5 extra tries each day. Now moving on to our specific stages, the first one is going to be U220. I think this is the most difficult stage in whole of this U2, right? Quite surprising to find it on 20 instead of like later 28 to 30, right? So these stages are normally more difficult, but this time around U220 is the problem. And the strategy that I'm going to recommend for you guys is to be going for 37 specifically at the start. So you want to focus down 37 because she does a lot of damage with her follow-up attacks. She can get buffed by 6 to make her even more prevalent, and if you let her survive too long and you go for 6 first, you're going to have a very unfortunate situation whereby the signpost is going to screw you up. So what do I mean by that? When you go into the battle, right, you're only going to face 37 as well as 6. However, at the start of every even turn, 37 is going to summon an upward signpost. What this means is that every time they cast an action, right, they take an action, do 1 AP, they are going to gain 1 Eureka, which makes this very, very non-beneficial for you, right? Of course, you can know how it's going to end for you if you let this stay alive, but the good thing is that naturally, it's already going to have a downward signpost, so it balances out. Nothing is going to happen. But what happens if you actually kill 6? If you were to kill 6 first, 37 is going to constantly spawn new signposts. So if you happen to accidentally kill off the downward signpost and you're going to keep facing this upward signpost, right, every single turn, she's going to follow up attack on all of your units. During that Genesis damage, you're not going to be able to handle it. And this is a lot of times why beginners think that this is a struggle. But instead, if you go for 37, less of a problem. The 6 instead is going to summon the downward signpost. So additionally, right, every time he takes an attack, he's going to suffer from Eureka -1. So this is going to be extremely good, and this is the way that you can clear. Of course, right, with 6 himself, just minusing his Eureka isn't going to solve all of your problems. He has an extremely strong ultimate. So if you have no way of surviving this ultimate, make sure that you bring strong Muxi controllers such as Melania. You can even bring units such as Click, right, to minus the Muxi. As long as 6 doesn't cast ultimate, you are not going to have a problem. So this is what I'm going to tell you. So once you've controlled the Muxi on the 6 itself, whenever he wants to cast ultimate, to prevent him from doing so, you can just focus on DPSing him down. And with the OP strat that I mentioned to you, right, your damage is going to scale higher and higher with each turn passing. So you're not going to have any problems. This is the strategy for U220. I hope that this can help you guys clear. I think it shouldn't be a problem with all of these strats in mind. Now going into the next one is going to be U228, and I think that this stage itself, the problem is specifically in damage, because you can see, right, at the start of the round or at the start of the battle, you're going to see this thick freaking shield, and you might think that this is impossible if you do not read the descriptions. Once again, reading is quite hard for some people, I do know that, so I'm here to read it to you, right? What this shield does is that it's going to last only for 3 rounds at the start of the battle. So for beginners, especially if you do not have enough damage, what I suggest is you are going to have no chance of breaking the shield in the first 3 rounds. Instead, try to make sure that you stockpile on high level cards. So just clear out your random cards, but make sure that when the new cards come in, try to fuse them, don't use them away. Wait for those 3 turns, right? You can start healing yourself and try not to attack also those minions, right? Those birds, right? If you attack them, they're going to give you poison stacks, but if you attack Diggers himself, no poison stacks. So try to do these 2 things, wait for the shield to expire. Once the shield expires, right, you're going to have a much easier time. Start attacking those units and make sure you don't kill them off alone. Okay, this one I focus 2 times. I don't kill them off alone, because what happens is once you kill any of those units away, right, except for Diggers, you are going to have a bad time. It's going to cast the shield thing again for 3 rounds, right? So a 3-round shield, freaking tick shield is going to appear again. So you want to kill them off in the same attack. So this is very important. Try to kill them in the same attack. Otherwise, going to have a bad time. And also, right, just to take note, right, although the description on Diggers is that if he's on the field, he's going to provide this shield for his allies, but what I did was that I killed off Diggers himself and subsequently I try to kill off the birds by themselves, right, it still trigger a shield. So I'm not sure if this is a bug, but regardless, what I suggest is to not aim for diggers. Since this is the case, just aim for the little birds, right? Try to kill at least 2 off at the same time, and then if another shield pops up, you're just going to wait another 3 rounds. You should have enough turns. And also don't worry, because this is like 15 rounds, and like I mentioned, right, U2 specifically with the OP strat, the later you go on, the more damage you're going to have. So focus on surviving, try to stockpile some cards, wait out the shield, you should be totally fine. Now, of course, with the arrival of 1.4 second half, right, what we have is not just U2, but also our favorite NPC, 6. And with 6, you might be thinking, is he really worth it? I haven't heard much about him. Then you definitely should check out this video where I touch on why he's extremely OP. I'll see you guys over there. This is Cocky Gachas, signing off.